Your organisation runs training courses for your staff and customers. Only problem is it's time-consuming, inconvenient and costly. Take a leaf out of our book. The School of Hard Knock Knocks uses the online training platform by YZ, and our team and customers love it. It's simple to use, supports every media format, audio, video, text, and looks great on desktops, tablets and mobiles. And for a limited time, quote SHKK when you arrange a demo and get 10% off your first year's plan. YZ helps us deliver comedy courses around the world. Imagine what it could do for your organisation. YZ, that's WYZED.com. YZ, online learning made simple. You're listening to the School of Hard Knock Knocks podcast with me, Maury Morgan.
Ladies and gentlemen, your next comedian.
Shouldn't drink on an empty head, you know that, don't you?
That is the shittiest heckle I have ever heard in my life.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
What's a bucket list?
You have dangerously underprepared yourself for the shit that is about to get real.
Comedian Gabe Hogan has been a Raw Comedy State finalist twice. She's also built a solid comedy career that has extended into commercial radio. In this School of Hard Knock Knocks podcast interview, Gabe talks about that initial comedic journey, advice for raw comedy competitors, and the importance and dangers of comedy cliques. If you're curious about how to start a stand-up comedy career, then this is the podcast episode for you. And on that topic, the School of Hard Knock Knocks has announced stand-up comedy courses for 2019 in Adelaide, Melbourne and Sydney. If your New Year's resolution is to try stand-up and you need a kick up the arse, then don't miss out on getting coached by some of Australia's best comedians. Greg Fleet, Glenn Nicholas and Julia Wilson are our comedy coaches throughout January and February, so don't miss out. Go to www.schoolofhardknockknocks.com to secure your spot. And now for the delightful arsehole, Gabe Hogan.
I've been babysitting my 3-year-old nephew and he's really cute. He keeps asking me to put his hair up in a hair tie and I think it's adorable. Like, I have no problem with it whatsoever. If he wants to put bows, I will totally do that. But I was a bit worried about how his parents would react. And his mum got home the other day and he came up to me and he whispered, "Can you put my hair up?" And I was like, "Yeah." Because I was a bit worried about his mum, right? But I did it anyway. We go into the bathroom, I put his hair up, and he comes out to his mum, and he's like, "Ta-da!" And I looked at her, and she looked like just a little bit angry. And I said, "Look, I am so sorry to be the one to tell you this, but I think your son might be, a hipster." She was like, "Maybe he's just gay." I'm like, "Nah, he asked for a top knot." And then he asked me if I could make him a soy baby chino, so sorry.
Good afternoon, Gabe. How are you?
Good. Murray, how are you?
I'm good, Gabe. We bump into each other regularly at the Big Mouth Comedy Room in St Kilda, and I've seen you perform many times from an audience, but we've never had a deep and meaningful, so I look forward to this chat.
Oh, now I'm worried. Yeah.
Skin deep, deep and meaningful.
This is probably the first time you've ever seen me sober, or spoken to me sober, so...
Possibly.
I don't know how it's
although
gonna work.
I think you were designated driver the last time I saw you taking David Tolk home or to the next gig or something. So, you might not have been sober.
No. Look, I spend most of my life in my car, and unfortunately David Tolk is often sitting next to me.
Well, there you go. And that's a good segue to some people are just arseholes.
Oh,
and
right?
I'm not talking about David Tolk. I'm talking about the little videos, snippets that you create on YouTube, because you're a stand-up comedian, but you're also a stand-up comedian with a social media hat on, and you produce these little shows with David Tolk, another Melbourne-based stand-up comedian. Where did this idea come from? The show that's on Facebook and I believe it's our YouTube channel as well?
It's on YouTube. We're not very good at putting our stuff on YouTube. A lot of it's on Facebook.
Facebook? Mm-hmm.
But we try to filter them through YouTube, but I guess we're lacking on that kind of side of things because we aren't great social media marketers. We basically just want to make people laugh. We are always in the car together, and we had an idea once, and we thought we'll just record it, and from there has now spurred over 20 episodes. And I guess it's just about it's just about having ideas and wanting to get them out there. Like, so, I mean, creating content is like a bit of a wank, I guess, when you put it that way. But yeah, we've got ideas and we just want to get them out there.
Yeah, well, from where I stand in my role in the School of Hard Knock Knocks, creating content is more than just a wank. It is vital because if people don't know you, then they don't come and see you as a performer. But you're doing a great job, and I think you're interview number 75 or so, and over the 75 interviews that I've done, some do a fantastic job. Some of these, headline comedians do a wonderful job, like Matt O'Kine, for example. He's constantly on Instagram. He's got so many followers. Smart guy, uses social media well. There's a bunch of comedians that do use, like Evan Hocking, for example. He's excellent. He's got little video snippets out as well. And yourself and David Tolk do a fantastic job. And I just want to emphasise for people who are interested to listen or watch this, Some People Are Just Arseholes is the name of the show. Where did that name come from?
Oh, I think we just are quite horrible to each other. It's interesting you say, because we have a bit of trouble with it. Arsehole is spelled the Australian way, ARSEHOLS, which we have to explain to people a bit. But as far as marketing ourselves on Facebook, they won't sponsor any of our posts because they have the word arseholes in the name. So if we did it again, we may do it differently.
So maybe you could do star holes or something.
Yeah, but then it becomes hard for people to search for it. So we were on air on radio the other day, and we couldn't say the word arseholes on the station. So it's really interesting, actually. Was that
Joy FM?
Yes, it's Joy 94.9. Joy FM is a Christian station. Okay. As Joy 94.9 is a gay and lesbian station, I don't think we really have the same listenership. So
yeah, no, I can imagine. It's kind of funny. I can imagine, a couple of people in the long drive to Sydney getting a bit confused by the end of that 9-hour trip, kumbayaing at the end of it, or vice versa.
I think the other way would be more enjoyable to see these good Christians listening to these shows about. It's not, the station's not all about that, but there is a lot of gay content. So I think those religious types might get a bit of a fright. But anyway, they'll say more prayers, and that's what God wants. So
yeah, well, that's funny. And it's such an irony that you can't say arseholes on a gay radio station.
That's so true.
Yeah, there you go. Isn't that kind of the point? Obviously for half that audience.
Well, I'm not into arseholes, but a lot of people are.
No, that's true. Right. Well, I'm going to move away from that. I did name drop. I did not that I'm concerned about talking about arseholes or Joy 94.9 FM, but I did name drop Matt O'Kine just now because Matt O'Kine and you have something in common. That is, you both did very well at Raw Comedy, which launched your comedy career. I believe you did. Was it your second gig ever? Like Matt O'Kine was a Raw Comedy heat.
Well,
was that right?
My first gig ever was a Raw Comedy heat.
Oh, amazing.
That was 2010. I didn't know anything about comedy. I'd hardly watched any stand-up comedy. I didn't know about writing or creating jokes, but it was just this urge that I had. I did it, and I didn't really go that well. I've got laughs, but now I think about it, I had no material, absolutely nothing. So it didn't go great, but I had the best fun. Like, the couple of laughs I got was all I needed to kind of get me hooked.
Yep, no worries. And when and then you got hooked, but you didn't actually do another gig until about a year later. Is that my understanding?
Yeah, that's true. Usually I'm a little bit more aggressive with my addictions, but that one was a little bit of a slow burner. I was in a kind of a weird place at the time, and that first gig was me just trying to dust the cobwebs off and kind of get back out into the world.
Yep.
When I did it, then that gave me something to kind of a goal. So I wanted to do it again. I just wasn't ready. And so I had planned to do Raw Comedy the year later. Mm-hmm. And I did one gig in between that just before Raw Comedy the second time, just to kind of run through my performance.
Yep.
And then Raw Comedy was the third gig I ever did as well.
Wow. And then just to rub it into anybody who's never got past a heat, you made it to the Victorian State Finals, not once but twice.
I did. Yeah, so sucked in if you didn't make it.
Yeah, I didn't make it. I was in a heat, and I got a couple of comments on my social media. They didn't use the word sucked in. They used a little bit more creative words. But you did it.
All right, I apologise for that. I wasn't having a good day.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Your alias is, no, we won't go there. Well, fantastic. So you got into the state final twice, which is good. It's good timing because right now you're listening to this podcast. It is the heats for Raw Comedy 2019 have just started. Can you give us any advice for those people who are entering?
Oh, God. My advice would be just have fun. Like Raw Comedy, everything's set up for you. You've got a massive audience. You've got a beautiful venue. There's a lot of people that are supportive there. It's just one of those gigs. It's very hard to find a gig that you do in front of over 100 people in Melbourne, especially starting out. Also, it's not important necessarily to get through to the national finals or win Raw. I was speaking to Guy Sebastian the other day, and I wasn't really. But do you know what I mean? Like these kind of, like competitions and things. There's not many people that won Raw that are really in the comedy industry now. But what I will say is there's a lot of people at Raw watching, looking for talent. So just have fun. Don't put too much pressure on getting through or whatever. Yeah. It's like have a really good time and know that there's people there that are kind of watching. And if your material's not right for Raw or they've already got that, they've got that person and they don't want another. Just say they're going to go, oh, we're going to have one gay this year. If they've already got a gay, you're not going to get through. So but just know that the judges are watching you and they still might be liking you even though you're not getting through Raw. So, yeah, just have fun. That's it.
Yeah, that's and just for those that have no idea who Guy Sebastian is, he won Australian Idol, is that right?
No, he came second.
Oh, he came second. There you go. So you can actually come second and still become a household name, or almost not in my household, but
exactly.
Oh, he came second. So he's the Buzz Aldrin of Australian Idol.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I wonder if anyone's used that. If I see him, or next time you interview him on the radio show, do that.
Yeah, okay. I'll use your. I've never wanted to use your material before, Murray, but you've got a good one.
Thank you. I don't come up with too many jokes, but that's yours.
No, I've seen you gig. No, I'm joking. This is where some people are just assholes came from because they just say the most horrible things to each other, and we thought, why not put that out there so that people can enjoy it too?
And not only you two, but also you have guests. People appear in the back seat of the car, don't they? I think Dave Hughes has appeared a couple of times.
Yeah, well, Dave Hughes is amazing. We made him lie in the back of the car, and because we're always in the front, so whatever guests we have, it doesn't matter who they are, they have to sit in the back seat. And Dave Hughes said to us, not only are you making me sit in the back seat, but you're making me lie on the fucking floor.
Oh, right.
So, yeah, I guess it's really cool. We've had Dave Hughes, Dave O'Neill, Richard Stubbs. The cool it's really cool because these sketches literally take 2 or 3 minutes. It's one take. We just go the whole way through. And it's not like we have to set up a studio or anything. All we use is my camera.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
And do you get a Slurpee at the end? I mean, where are you driving to?
We're just driving to nowhere. That's just basically our career at this stage, just driving around for gigs.
All right. Well, no worries. Well, let's go back a little bit into that career when it started. You actually, I believe that you did some workshops starting out in comedy. Was this before you did Raw Comedy? Did you go to the Comics Lounge in North Melbourne?
Yeah, I sure did. This is getting creepy because you know a lot of information about me. I went after my first gig. So the first gig I did, I had no idea about stand-up. It was just something I decided to do. Yep. Within that next year, I started going to the Comics Lounge as I guess, and the good thing about doing workshops is you meet like-minded people. I met a group of girls there that I actually had dinner with a couple of nights ago. We meet up a couple of times a year, and I think from that workshop point of view, finding people that you like and that you want to learn with is super important. And those friendships have now stuck with me, 8-9 years later.
That's awesome. And it seems like comedy all over Australia is, and I mean this in a positive way, cliquey in the way that you kind of move almost like a year level at school. The years that you start, maybe the first 2 years or 3 years that you start, you see obviously familiar faces, and some of those then get gigs on TV shows and hosts, get radio shows and so on. So is that how you see it as well? So are you part of this kind of a group?
Yeah.
Of people that started around?
Yeah, most definitely. I remember one of the people I started with was Dilruk Jaisinger.
Yeah,
and when I met him, he was just a really nice guy, super, super supportive, and now he's killing it. And I hate him. Hate him with everything.
Envious, yeah.
Yeah. But it is. It's like this group of camaraderie of people that start at the same time. With comedy being cliquey, it's only natural that you're going to click with people you spend more time with, and you have similar thought patterns. But it's really important not to try and get really stuck in those cliques.
Yeah, right.
You got to kind of be your own person in stand-up, and it's really important to have those people. But I think it's also super important to make sure that you're kind of reaching out and talking to people that you don't always necessarily hang out with.
That's actually very good advice for up-and-coming comedians, because it is easy to fall into the same crew. I mean, I know with the School of Hard Knock Knocks, we have almost like class years each month. They do a course, and we find that one group from November, for example, is very tight, but they don't know anyone from October. But we encourage them to meet one another. But yes, I understand it completely.
One other thing really quickly is sometimes when you look at cliques within the scene, they all have a very similar style of performance and maybe even jokes. I think lifting yourself too much to this clique doesn't give you enough insight into what other people are doing.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you're not exposing yourself to different ideas and thoughts, and it stifles creativity, I assume. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Talking about creativity, you are the youngest in a family. Is that my understanding?
Yes. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I am the youngest. I've got an older brother and an older sister.
Older brother, not a huge family, being from a Catholic background, but not a huge family. But and I'm quoting Brad Oakes and Lawrence Mooney now, because they've both said that comedians are more likely to be the youngest child of a family because they're born with an audience. Was that your sort of? Do you think? I don't know. Maybe it's the first time you've thought about it, but do you think that's true with you?
Look, firstly, I don't think two people is an audience. I don't know where you're gigging.
Well, four, your parents company. As well, maybe. I don't know.
Look, I think the one thing that you have not mentioned there is that I guess I'm a triple threat, because I am the favourite and also the best looking.
Boom.
I don't know. I think one of my earliest memories of making people laugh is making my sister laugh. So, yeah, I guess that's true. Mm-hmm. I also think that there was less expectations on me growing up, because my brother and sister are really successful. And now every time I stuff up, it's just like, oh, Gabe, not again. So I've got a little bit more leeway to be a bit creative and do what I want, really.
Yeah. And did you were very, as a child, so growing up, when you said you were making your sister laugh, you were quite extroverted as a child? Would someone say ADD?
Yeah, yes. Well, that's what the doctors call it. Mental illness, ADD, it's all the same thing. I guess I do have ADD.
Attention deficit disorder. Is that the acronym?
That is, yeah.
Yep. And what does that mean? Because because I've got a 9-year-old turning 10, but he's, I don't know. He jumps around and he has different ideas, but he's creative like you are.
Yeah.
Is that a bad thing?
No, I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I mean, it was a bad thing in high school because I didn't particularly succeed very well. I think it's also maybe prevented me from getting the normal 9 to 5 in that I get bored very easily.
Yeah.
I guess with ADD, you're less observant of what is important, but you're more observant of what's happening around you. Yeah. So kind of gives you a little bit of a different slant on things.
It also depends on your definition of what's important. If knowing all the, all the countries in Asia is important in geography, or how to do Pythagoras' theorem in postmodernism, then Awesome.
The boss that fired me last said it was important that I turn up to work, but I thought it was important to see the beach.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I can see his point there.
Yeah. Look, I don't know. It does. It's what you want. You know, if you...
Well, no, it's what you want. It is what you want. And you're right. Look, we're both, I'm slightly older than you, but we're both of the same generation that grew up, I guess, in the 80s and 90s in schooling. And we got told that the jobs that we would do would be accounting and lawyer and, nurse and doctor and and now, of course, there's podcaster and YouTuber and stand-up comedian, and there's all these jobs that didn't exist when we started. And so the system obviously isn't designed for creativity in the modern form that we have today. I understand completely. No. And you kind of pushed through that sort of that not knowing where you were going to go with affirmations. I believe that, you're a big one for using positivity in your life and repeating. That's what an affirmation is, to affirm positive thoughts. Is that right?
Yeah, it is right. I will put affirmations up on my wall in my bedroom, and it's interesting that you bring this up, Maury, because just a few days ago, someone actually broke into my house and stole my diary and a few pairs of undies, and I'm just wondering where you're getting this information from. No.
If I sound a bit muffled, it's because your granny pants are over my mouth.
I was going to say you're in the closet. No. Look, I used to do that. As I said, like I mentioned earlier, I was kind of in a bit of a bad place, and I found affirmations. I suffered from a bit of anxiety too, so affirmations for me was a way of having positive thoughts when negative thoughts were there. So I think that was just a way of controlling my mind, and that would help in stand-up in that people say, do you get nervous? Yeah, I get nervous, but I've always got some line in my head ready to counteract what my brain is telling me.
That's awesome.
I don't really get into affirmations that much anymore because I'm just not really in that place, but I would suggest everyone tries them, and if it works, it works. But, yeah, I've kind of moved on from that a little bit.
Yeah, well, no, it's important because, again, the people that listen to this are, behind you in the journey, the comedic journey. So they're going to be looking at an audience who aren't laughing, going, oh, I'm so shit, I should give up. But having someone like yourself talk about how they got and they pushed through, but they use things, in this case, affirmations. Can you give me an example of what an affirmation would sound like?
Well, I mean, I guess my affirmations have changed now. That they used to be things like, see the positive in people around you or something wanky like that. But now it's more of a thought process, which I guess I've trained myself to do. So if you're going to Raw, just say, and you're backstage and you start to think those nervous thoughts, you counteract that with something like, this is a great gig. There are so many people here. This is going to be a really fun gig. So rather than saying it's scary, it's scary, you kind of counteract that with positive things. Gotcha.
I've got a little bit of background in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming.
Oh, right.
I don't like to tell too many people because it can be seen as a bit cultish at times. And
so you're telling me that no one's listening to this podcast?
Yeah. Hi, Mum. We in the process of learning NLP. Look, I learn a lot. I'm a big fan of education and training, and in that they call it reframing in NLP. So you take a scenario like you lose your wallet. Well, now you can finally change banks because you hated the bank and you have to get new credit cards anyway. So I as well move away from one of the big four, or your mobile phone breaks. So you're like, well, all right, it's going to cost a bit more money, but now you can finally upgrade. So it sounds like another word for reframing, affirmation. Sounds like a great tip for newcomers.
Yeah, I think
that is for sure.
The way we kind of sabotage ourselves, I think, is with our own inner dialogue. So you just got to be aware of what your inner dialogue's telling you and know when to shut it up. Yep,
absolutely. That voice, the little devil on our shoulder, is. Can be very critical. Yeah, being either pushing through that or just having I know people who just don't listen to that voice at all, and they one in particular that we both know very well who doesn't listen to that voice at all. I wish he would sometimes.
Well, I think sometimes you need to listen to that voice.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know exactly who we're talking about, but don't always shut it down. Sometimes it's the angel talking, like, you know, don't put your finger in the socket. When it's telling you stuff like that, you do listen.
No, that's right. Yep, no, I agree.
There's so many assholes in comedy, man. They're everywhere.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And talking about that, I believe your partner is also a comedian. Is that right?
Yes, she does. She is. She doesn't do much comedy. She actually has a real job that she's happy with and she enjoys a lot. So she doesn't get out on the scene very often. But, yeah, I met her in comedy.
Yeah. All right. Now, I've Chris Wainhouse, of course, Katie Birch, they're a couple. And I asked him, which the same question I'm asking you, is it difficult to live with someone who's a comedian? Do you steal each other's jokes? Do you kind of look down on each other's comedy?
So look, there's a certain amount of, I wouldn't say joke stealing, but like that was my idea. But look, generally we don't create work together. I think I think Chris and Katie are a different scenario. They're both brilliant minds, and with me and my partner, we're not. No. I just think that there's it can be a little bit. It can always go the wrong way when you're dealing with a partner. So you know, you just can say the wrong thing and it's taken the wrong way. So and I don't tell her jokes before I do them on stage. I'd rather she sees them on stage and gives me an honest opinion. But I think it's really important to have a comedy partner. So I hate to bring up his name again, but David Tolk. He and I spend a lot of time talking about comedy, creating work together. And I think having that one person who can give you a really honest opinion without it getting mixed up in emotional stuff, which is two women together, is not going to end up well. But I had a gig last night with Dave, and just before I went on stage, he looked at me dead in the eye and he said to me, "Gabe, I hope you bomb hard tonight." And I think that is a true story. But that's what you need. You need someone who's going to... Because my reaction to that was, F you, I'm going to kill this.
Yeah,
so
right.
I think you need someone, and also that will say to you, "Nah, that wasn't great," or "Don't do that," or "That is good." I think having a partner in comedy is really important, not necessarily a relationship partner.
Well, now I know why he called it "Some People Are Just Arseholes." That's very clear. He's like an older brother, isn't he, to you?
Yeah, he definitely so.
Yeah,
definitely
a very,
so.
very older brother, in case he's listening to this.
Much older brother.
Yeah.
He's like my dad. Actually, I do that to embarrass him sometimes. I just, when we're in company, I say things like, "Oh, shut up, Dad," and he hates it.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. Well, you and Dave were out and about last night. Where can people see you in the next couple of months, moving into 2019? Have you got any gigs coming up? The Melbourne Comedy Festival or the Adelaide Fringe or anything else?
I'm doing a midsummer show this year, which is on the 31st of January through to the 2nd of February.
Yep.
That's a lineup show. So there's quite a few amazing queer comedians that are going to be on that show.
Awesome.
So I think those tickets you can get online. It's from the Midsummer website, and we're doing that at the Bluestone Art Space in Footscray.
Good. Anyone coming out on stage during that show?
No, everyone. No.
No? Okay.
That would be interesting to come out.
Because if Dave Hughes was coming out, I'd go to see that.
Well, I think it's Dave O'Neill. He has a joke about how he looks like a lesbian, and I think he does.
He does. Yes, he does. He does.
I know no one's coming out. Well, hopefully people are coming out to the show, but I don't think anyone will be coming out on stage. But I'm also doing a comedy festival this year. I'm doing my show called Gabe Hogan's Heroes at the Imperial Hotel.
Ooh, good pun. As in Hogan's Heroes? The classic, was it 1970s?
Oh, yeah, it's a prisoner of war
60s
comedy.
TV show? Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And what's the dates for those that
They're
show?
running the second 2 weeks of the festival from the 9th of April to the 21st of April. Shows at 6:30, and
Awesome.
it's a great venue. It's actually a really big hub for comedy festivals.
It is.
So if you go to early shows, you can usually spend your whole night
Yes.
there.
They divide the upstairs, don't they, into multiple rooms?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, that's good. Good spot. And a very good spot for going to comedy any week of the year, because they do have an open mic there, don't they, on Wednesdays?
They do, and it's sign up. I think they do booked comedians on the Tuesday and open mic on the Wednesday. It's a great venue that has a really nice audience, so they're actually with you. And with those sign-ups, it's really important, I think, also not to just show up and sign up. I would suggest that maybe you go there, check it out, find out the vibe of the room before you, and then go down again the next week and sign up.
Yeah, gotcha. And also, because I think they're a very popular room, aren't they? Do they draw names out of a hat?
I don't know. I've technically not done the sign-up there before.
No, that's what I've
They
heard.
have a massive list of people there every week.
Yeah. They're very, very, very popular. Awesome.
Yeah.
So that's your gigs coming up. If someone wants to book you for a private gig, maybe a sports club or a
sounds
conference.
sexy, private gig.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Is that possible? It sounds like it's not possible.
Yeah.
But,
No, well, it depends. I'd prefer if there was an audience and it just wasn't the two of us. But, yeah. Yeah, look, you can find me on Facebook. It's Gabe Hogan. I've got an email address and all that kind of stuff. You know where I live, so you could just let people know. But yeah, I guess Facebook's the best way to do it.
Awesome. Fantastic. Oh, Gabe, thanks very much for your time. And we did this whole interview from your car, so yeah, you could. You didn't. This isn't going to be the next episode of Some People Are Just Arseholes. It's just me talking, is it?
Yeah.
It is, isn't it?
You call it a car, I call it my house, but it does both.
Well. Awesome, Gabe. Well, thanks very much for your time. Have a great next couple of weeks and best of luck for those festival shows coming up.
Thank you so much. It was great to talk to you, Maury.
Awesome.
All right, see you soon.